Hi, everyone. Welcome back for episode 20 of the Simply Well podcast. I'm your host, Colin. I'm joined by my co-host, Chris.
How we doing, everybody? Big 2-0.
I thought you were going to say big titties. We're just a couple of best friends who are passionate about all things pop culture. If you're looking for lukewarm takes on movies, video games, TV shows, or even the occasional comic, then we have the show for you. What?
Just fucking bashed my knee on my desk.
Golly.
Did it pick up?
Maybe. I was too focused on making sure I said my stuff.
We'll clean it up in post.
Nah, it'd be alright. There's not a lot of post on this show, I'll tell you.
We are raw.
We're raw. Like good dick. This week we're recapping Ms. Marvel since Chris was able to get caught up on it.
Yeah.
Like literally just before we started recording, you watched the finale.
Mm-hmm.
We aren't going to worry about spoilers or anything like that when we get into it. Just going to try and keep it brief so we can kind of glide through and have hopefully a normal length episode. With that in mind, it's also kind of a light news week, which I'm sure like will be made up in kind next week because Comic-Con is this weekend. So, yes. Well, between DC and Marvel and whatever Sony might have for us, I'm sure we'll have quite a bit to talk about. So, but yeah, before we get into Ms. Marvel, we got to talk about some of the highlights from the Emmy nominations.
Yes.
The fact that Top Gun Maverick just won't fucking stop. Sony introduced a new loyalty program for their PlayStation users. And Walt and Jesse are back in Albuquerque. Yeah, so if you're ready to talk about it, I'll just throw it at you.
Yes.
Yes. So, Emmy nominations. I wanted to mark... I kind of copied it and pasted over the nominees for Best Drama Series and Best Comedy Series, and then thought I'd talk about the bits that jumped out at me. So, for Best Drama Series, Better Call Saul got nominated, as well as Bob Odenkirk got nominated as Best Actor in a leading role for a drama series, and Ray Seahorn, she got nominated for the Best Actress in a leading role in a drama series. Let's see, Euphoria. Zendaya was nominated. I want to say she's the youngest person nominated twice. I think was the caveat that I saw in there.
Yeah,
so
she's
got two nominees.
Euphoria's really good.
And she won last time, I think in 2020's Emmys. She won, and she was the youngest recipient of that award. So, and then Sydney Sweeney got nominated for Best Supporting Actress. Let's see, Ozark, Severance, Squid Game got nominated for Best Drama Series. And it actually is the first non-English nominee for that category. And then let's see the following ones. We got Stranger Things, Succession, and Yellow Jackets, which I haven't seen. I've heard good things about all of the shows on here, and that's the nice thing is like I've also heard of all of these shows. I feel like sometimes there's shows and stuff in there where you're like never heard of that. Like when movies win Best Picture that you're like, did anybody watch that movie?
What is that? Yeah.
Yeah. And then let's see. So for Best Comedy Series, something called Abbott Elementary, which is apparently on ABC. Haven't heard of that one. But Barry got nominated for Best Comedy Series.
And as
Bill
it
Hader,
should.
Yeah, Bill Hader got nominated for Best Lead. He got nominated for, I believe, writing an episode and directing an episode. Let's see, Billy Kerrigan, who plays NoHo Hank, got nominated for Best Supporting Actor. And Henry Winkler got nominated for Best Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series.
NoHo Hank. What's that actor's name?
Billy Kerrigan.
Billy Kerrigan. He fucking kills me. Like, he kills NoHo Hank, like, so good.
Yeah, and apparently that's, like, not at all how that character was meant to be read. Like, when he came in for audition, you know? Because that's not what Billy Kerrigan sounds like.
Not at all.
And, so when he came in to read for it, he put that on, and it sounds like he's kind of similar to, like, a Jesse in Breaking Bad, insofar as he was supposed to die at when Barry shoots him the first season, like at the end of the first episode. But then because everybody loved him, they were like, yeah, we gotta keep this guy on.
You gotta keep him going.
Like, the people on set loved him. And then really the only other thing I wanted to talk about from the Emmys that I thought was noteworthy and kind of tied in with us was that Chadwick Boseman was actually posthumously nominated for playing T'Challa's Star-Lord in What If, in like the Outstanding Character Voiceover Performance category. Guy, you gotta stop adjusting yourself in your seat. All I hear is your chair.
Sorry.
We'll get comfy before we start then, because it sounds like an old house. It just sounds like a fucking haunted house over there. I'm
no
trying
one
to
will speak to me.
trying to be serious. Fucking Chadwick Boseman. This is probably the last performance he'll be nominated for. Yeah. I'm like, good God, you sound like a kid filling in his seat. So you got anything about any of that, or did I just keep moving?
No, I mean, I think that's really cool that Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. Such an amazing actor, and I remember when I found out he passed away, it threw me for such a curve.
Yeah, I mean, it was shocking to everybody, yeah.
But I mean, it's nice to, it's like,
get a little
yes,
extra recognition there.
Yeah, as he should.
And, not to try and make it sad or dwell on it anymore, but apparently he and Kevin Feige had talked a fair bit about T'Challa Star-Lord and that he really liked that version of the character and wanted to see, like, if there was more they could do with that character. Because you figure they recorded that well in advance, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of sad that, like, what if they could have made a series out of that character or, carried that character over into live action in some way.
That would have been really cool.
Similar to how we got, Captain Carter in Doctor Strange. So I think it's obviously, there's several different layers of a shame that he passed away. Obviously the personal level that, he lost his life young and all that, and his family and all the things he gets to miss out on now, but also the things that, the audience got to miss out on, the things that he wanted to do. At least he gets a little bit of recognition for a character that he actually did have a bit of a passion for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Black Panther was really, really good too, and I'm excited for the second one to come out.
I am too. Yeah, hopefully next week we get some footage and stuff out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, which I forgot to put that in the news. Should we do that?
What?
That tweet I told you about?
Yeah, I think we should. Give the people what they want.
Yeah. So this is keep in mind this is coming straight out of this is a tweet of a screenshot of a Reddit post. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But quite a few people have like kind of come out with similar like corroborating pieces of info, I suppose. Mm-hmm. So this is all subject to just be strictly rumor, but this is a Tales from the Mod queue. It says, welcome back to another special edition of Tales from the Mod queue. Today we have information to share with regards to San Diego Comic-Con and the future of the MCU. As always, take this all with a grain of salt. So kind of like I just said. Most of this could be wrong, but maybe some of it's a sliver of truth. So this is basically leaked lineup for Marvel's San Diego Comic-Con. So next week, hopefully we get proven right.
Yes.
So hopefully we'll see, it says Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds will be in attendance to announce the next Deadpool movie, which isn't titled Deadpool 3. And director Sean Levy is set to send in a video. So I'm not sure if that means like a video of Sean Levy, like a face cam thing, or like if he's sending in footage. I don't know that they've even started filming, so I don't know what they would be. Which I mean, I kind of figured that we might see some Deadpool stuff since they're now starting to talking with the writers about what it's like to work with Disney, and we've got Sean Levy on as the director. It's obviously in the early enough stages or the late enough stages that they're probably getting ready to start production.
Mm-hmm. I really do hope that Disney was just kind of like, nah, keep doing your thing. Like, you're just in it.
Yeah. Which, I mean, the writers made it sound like it's been pretty easy going. There hasn't been a lot of, no, you can't do that.
I say, of course they have. Imagine how much money they're making now.
Right, yeah, I mean, you're going to make your money.
So,
Black Panther.
Disney.
Ryan Coogler, Denai Guerrera, Tana Huerta, who we didn't talk about it a few weeks ago. Tana Huerta is set to be Namor the Submariner. So kind of, not to make comparisons directly, but he's an Aquaman type character. From Atlantis, can commune with fish, things like that. Dominique Thorne, which I believe, let me double check that, but I believe Dominique Thorne is who is going to play Ironheart.
Do you think we're going to see an Iron Lad?
I don't know, maybe, but I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe combined, because
we saw him in Endgame.
Well, no, we didn't. We saw the kid from Iron Man 3, but he's not necessarily Iron Lad.
Yeah, but I thought it was heavily rumored that he was going to play Iron Lad, if they were to do one.
I think people just were like, oh, maybe they'll bring him in as Iron Lad. I think it was just people wondering, and speculating, as opposed to true substantiated rumors. Because I think it'd be odd to have an Ironheart character who is kind of a young Iron Man type character, right? Yeah, Dominique Thorne is Ironheart, so that's correct on that. Riri Williams. But sorry, let me get back to reading here. So Dominique Williams will be there. And they're going to present their first trailer for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. It says.
Mm-hmm.
And then Secret Invasion, which is the Disney Plus series that they're running with Samuel L. Jackson obviously being Nick Fury. And, oh man, I completely lost his name. The actor who is the leader of the Skrulls in Captain Marvel. I can't think of it. But I'll think of it as soon as we sign off. If only somebody had a computer. You're my guy in the chair.
Actor.
Oh, Ben Mendelsohn. I beat you to it.
Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah, that's what I said. You're like, no.
No, I know. I pulled it out. No, I said that.
It's right here on my screen.
I said that.
I said that. So yeah, no one's going to be in attendance for Secret Invasion, but they will reveal the main cast and share some footage. Which, I mean, I guess when I think about it, yeah, we don't really know anybody other than Nick Fury and the leader of the Skrulls. So it makes sense that we need to get a little bit more context on that. Sure. Let's see. Blade. So at their last Comic-Con appearance in like 2019, they talked about the fact that Mahershala Ali was going to be Blade, and now we should get some more info because it says that Mahershala Ali, Kit Harington, who for you would know him as, and not even know him that well, but he is Jon Snow from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So Kit Harington, Aaron Pierre, Milan Ray, and Bassam Tariq will be in attendance for some news. One big piece of news that's been rumored, and I've seen other news articles picking this up, is that Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander, will play Dracula.
Yeah.
So again, check it all with a grain of salt, but the fact that they've got a name and a character makes me feel like that's probably at least he's at least in talks for them to have that, laid down.
And what a perfect way
to
set it up for us to talk about The Boys.
Yeah, I haven't watched The Boys, so.
No, I'm catching up on it. I'm slacking because I've been catching up on Miss Marvel, but I'd like to talk about it.
You watched Ms. Marvel and us sitting, so I don't want to hear this. It really got in the way of me watching The Boys.
It did.
It took one day away. Speaking of Ms. Marvel, The Marvels, Brie Larson, Iman Vellani, and Teyana Price will all be there when they show their footage. Zaw Ashton, who I'm not sure who that is by name, will not be present due to her pregnancy. Anson Mount will reprise his role as Black Bolt.
Which I'm excited for.
Yeah, I am too. Jodie Turner-Smith will rejoin as Medusa in the post-credits of the movie, setting up Universal Inhumans as a big cosmic story going forward. So that's odd to me that they're talking about like a post-credits scene, because, I mean, obviously that's not going to be at San Diego Comic-Con. Unless it's like a trailer and then they're showing. I don't know. But I don't think... So that one I would be a little bit, more speculative of.
You think we'll see Lockjaw?
The dog?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Since he's with... the
Inhumans, yeah. Black Bolt.
Yeah,
maybe. I just know that, like, the Inhumans show didn't do well. So I find it odd that they're like, all right, we're going to take a second crack at this. And also, like, once we get into Ms. Marvel, there's another weird thing about the Inhumans. So, World War Hulk was originally going to be a movie, it says. I know. It is now being turned into a 4-part series for Disney Plus that may have a small theatrical release. This could possibly be the big Avengers event before Secret Wars with many big characters. They kind of just slipped that in there. I don't know. I mean, obviously there hasn't been any confirmation, but everybody seems to think that Secret Wars is like the next Avengers level threat. So, I mean, maybe. Who knows? And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Go ahead.
I was going to say, who's the threat in Secret Wars? Is it Galactus?
No. So there's been like 3 versions of Secret Wars. But if I think the one that would be the easiest for them to adapt would be... So in the 80s, they did The Beyonder, which is basically an alien who pulls everybody to... I just completely lost the planet. But it's basically like nowhere.
Okay.
And has villains, heroes all teamed up, and they're just fighting to try and survive. And the comics, honestly, are really hard read now because it's so intertwined with like other comic stories that lead into it. That it's like so dense. You're like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? But there was a more recent one with Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four kind of playing a center role, and it's more about like multiversal stuff, like the incursions that came up in Doctor Strange.
And we also saw
we saw Reed Richards. Yeah, which
or John Krasinski.
He may not be the MCU's Reed Richards. I don't know if you heard that or not.
Why?
Still, chill out, relax. You're blinded by John Krasinski. Relax. No, Kevin Feige said that it was when he and Sam Raimi talked about it. He was very much apparently he's a casting choice that a lot of fans have, and so let's give them what they want. Kind of as like not a throwaway, but like throw the dog a bone kind of deal.
Right.
So it might be here. There you go. You saw him as Reed Richards, and then he got turned to spaghetti, and his head exploded.
That's true. That was
and
good.
Also, yeah, it was really good. Let's see here. But yeah, so I think that might be the Secret Wars that they go with, because we already know that we are getting the Fantastic Four in the MCU. Right. And, it makes sense to tie in with the multiverse stuff, and it's a more recent comic story that people would have read. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. A majority of the cast will be in attendance, and they will show some footage. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. We'll see some footage with actors Rudd, Lilly, and Newton present. Jonathan Majors will send in video as Kang, so... Like we talked about, we haven't seen Jonathan Majors since the end of Loki, where he was He Who Remains at the end of time, and then obviously he's supposed to be a Kang variant, and that little stinger at the end was Loki going back to the TVA, and there's just a massive statue of Kang the Conqueror, and it's very Planet of the Apes.
Oh yeah! Oh, I'm so excited! I really liked Loki.
I did too. That's one of my favorites. Wonder Man will be announced with Henry Golding as Simon Williams. An interesting detail is that Evan Peters is returning as Ralph Boner from WandaVision. May have a new name. He'll likely be a side character in the show. And then the last
Which I was talking about. Do you think they're going to try to bring back Quicksilver?
I don't know, maybe. But I feel like, it's a weird one to go, like, to cock tease us like that. Mm-hmm. With, that's a very crude term, I apologize. Cock teases with Evan Peters as Quicksilver, and then him to not be Quicksilver, and then to go actually Psyche was.
Yeah,
it feels a little flippy floppy.
That makes sense.
Let's see though. The last thing is Daredevil: Man Without Fear will be announced with Charlie Cox starring along with Eliza Gonzalez as Elektra. So we had to look it up to double check. Eliza Gonzalez is not who was Elektra in the Daredevil show. So I don't know if it was they didn't have interest in that actress, or if she didn't have interest in returning. Or if it even came up, you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, so... And again, it's all a grain of salt. It might not even be true. So, yeah, just I thought that was at least worth shaking a stick at,
Right.
See what came running out. Like I said, we got to talk about Top Gun Maverick, because it just won't stop making money. So, it has passed $600 million domestically, which makes it Paramount Pictures' highest domestically grossing film of all time, just beating out Titanic. Mm-hmm. Which Titanic was a monster movie when it came out, so it's kind of crazy to think that, like, my God, it's getting toppled. This makes me think more and more about, like, the sequel question, honestly, because money is obviously a major motivator for studios, and you would think with that Paramount's looking at this and going, all right, what do we do with that next? Because it's obviously like we're shitting gold right now.
All right.
So I was thinking about it. They may try and make a streaming series for Paramount Plus, since it's a relatively new, service. That they might be like, how can we pivot? And okay, obviously people like Top Gun, but then I wonder if the question is, do they like Top Gun the property, or did the people that like Top Gun the property show up first, and then everybody heard it was actually a good movie, and then that's why it's made money week after week. But so I think either way they are going to try and they're going to find another way to make money out of this property, because, my God, it's making so much money.
So, like, a stupid amount.
Like, too much money for Top Gun. I wonder what it's... let's see. Box Office Mojo. I want to see what its worldwide is right now. Yeah, it's got $1.2 billion.
That's too much money.
Like, we've talked about it. Like, that's in 52 days. We've talked about it. That's Marvel money. Like...
Yeah.
That's bananas. My God, yeah. $1.2 billion. Anyways, yeah. I just thought it was worth noting that game is still that movie is still making money this, 52 weeks in. Or, sorry, not 52 weeks, 52 days in. Mm-hmm. And, and I think it'll continue to do so. And I just hope that the studio doesn't take away, the wrong message and be like, shit, just crank out Top Gun. Let's turn Top Gun into the next Fast and Furious franchise.
No, please.
You heard it here first, folks.
Right. Stamp it. Stamp it.
Just fucking Top Gun 9. They go to space in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Sony has announced PlayStation Stars, a loyalty rewards program set to launch, quote, later this year, right? Uh, it'll be free to join, and it's just sounds like it's a simple little like a loyalty program of sorts, where it's going to reward players with points for completing different objectives, which could be simple, like logging into a certain game once a month, or as demanding as being one of the first players to receive a platinum trophy on a game.
Oh, like fucking Elden Ring.
Right. And these points can apparently the plan is that the points will be able to be redeemed in the store for different rewards. The quote from PlayStation's blog, which this is just set to come out, like I said, later this year. They were kind of vague about some of the details, where they're still working out the kinks of it, I'm sure. But the quote was that the catalog could include PSN wallet funds and select PlayStation Store products. So I'm not sure what exactly that means. Where if it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you a free game as a reward, or like you can redeem points for games, or just straight up here's money in your account, which kind of made me think, because they talked about also receiving credit simply by making purchases in the store. So I'm wondering if it'll be similar to like on the Switch, how with the Nintendo Store you get points when you buy stuff, and then you can get like $1.60 off towards your next game on the next purchase you make through the store. So I wonder if it'll be something like that.
That'd be cool.
I think it's just obviously it's an attempt at them to kind of push more digital offerings, with the fact that like they just expanded their PlayStation Plus tiers with like having the base and then the premium and then like the
Daddy
fucking
chill.
insane. Whoa.
What?
You want to run that by me again?
I whenever I plug my phone in, it tells me "Daddy, chill."
I just heard fucking Siri, "Daddy, chill." I'm like, bro.
I want to plug my phone in.
What the hell is even that?
What the hell is even that?
But yeah, so I think that's kind of neat. And if it's free, and they talked about like expressly stating, they were like, no, definitely not, because somebody was like, are you gonna be able to buy NFTs? And they were like, no. Fuck no. So yeah, don't. Yeah, so don't fucking put the idea in their head. Like if you do it, so help me God. But no, so if it's free, and you can get free stuff out of it just by doing the shit you were doing anyways, I don't see any problem with that.
Nuh-uh, not one bit.
I'd do it.
I would.
Do it in a heartbeat. I'd do it for free.
Yeah. I feel like I play PlayStation enough where I can be like, yeah.
Right, and I'm sure obviously the end game there is that it would incentivize you to play it even more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes for them. And like I said, we don't really know when that's launching. It just says later this year. So hopefully they have all the way until New Year's Eve, right? So talking about Vince Gilligan here, creator of Breaking Bad, right?
Yes.
Perk your ears up, baby girl.
Oh, they're perked. Like,
oh, they're
so
perked. You wouldn't believe how perked they are. Perk 30 right now. No, Perk 30. Juice. Vince Gilligan, the creator of Breaking Bad, is donating 2 larger-than-life bronze statues of Walter White and Jesse Pinkman to the city of Albuquerque. And he said, quote, over the course of 15 years, 2 TV shows and 1 movie, Albuquerque has been wonderful to us. I wanted to return the favor and give something back. And he goes on to say, these larger-than-life bronzes of Walter White and Jesse Pinkman exist thanks to the generosity of Sony Pictures Television and the artistry of sculptor Trevor Grove, and I love them. It makes me happy to picture them gracing the Duke City for decades to come, attracting busloads of tourists. So,
yes,
I just want to think about the fact that there's going to be bronze statues of, like, a meth kingpin and his fucking ex-high school student that's basically his bitch. Just in Albuquerque.
Broad daylight. Like, what are you going to tell your kids?
So it says that, they said that the statues are going to be housed indoors at the Albuquerque Convention Center after Mayor Keller, Vince Gilligan, Peter Gould, Bryan Cranston, and Aaron Paul witnessed their unveiling on July 29th. So yeah, like the fucking mayor's going to be there. Like it's going to be a whole thing. And it's like, but also, I mean, I'm sure there is a legitimate amount of tourism that the show has brought to Albuquerque.
Right, and like that's what I was literally just thinking is like, I've never heard of Albuquerque besides Breaking Bad.
Right, I only knew of Albuquerque because I had family that lived close to it.
Mm.
But beyond that, like, yeah, it would not have been on my radar. I want to see. I know that at one point the restaurant that was
Los Pollos,
yeah, that was Los Pollos Hermanos.
Yeah, it's a big like not a gift shop, but like a tourist attraction.
Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna see if it's still running. So it says, yeah, I think it is. According
Yeah.
to Business Insider, the Los Pollos Hermanos restaurant is an actual restaurant in Albuquerque, New Mexico called Twisters, which is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and boasts a menu that includes burgers, burritos, and rather than fried chicken.
Right.
But yeah, so you can still go there and be like, "Yo, where's Gus at?"
Yeah, Mr. White.
Yo, Mr. White. But no,
Time to
so
cook.
this might make me travel to fucking New Mexico
We're
just to
going.
see these bronze statues of Walt and Jesse.
Jesse.
But no, like I said, that's
Put your dick away, Walter.
we're not having sex right now, Walter.
There's this meme I have saved, and I mean, I overplayed it. And
Correct.
it is just Mike Armentrout, someone voice acting as him. And it's just
Not
a
bad
still.
either.
No, it was good, but it was just a still image of him. It just says, "Put your dick away, Walter." I'm not having sex with you
Sex
right now, Walter.
Walter. Yeah.
It's,
Put your dick
it's
away,
not right
Walter.
now.
No, yeah, the fact that it's not right now. And the casuality of it makes me think that it's not the first time. Like, they may have fucked in the past. But not right now.
Not right now.
Like, put your dick away, Walter.
Put your
I'm
dick
not
away,
having sex
Walter.
with you right now, Walter.
Gas.
Gas.
Welcome back to Gas or Pass. That meme?
Gas. Gas. It's gas. Let's see here. Talking about Ms. Marvel. Are you ready to talk about
Yes.
Ms. Marvel?
Let's burn through it. I'm so ready.
Let's do it. Burn through it. All right. So, do you have a synopsis for me?
Yeah, so the synopsis I have pulled up.
Just you got to get a mechanical keyboard so you can do the bit like I do.
Yeah, so as I was saying, before I was interrupted, Kamala Khan is a normal teenage girl who dreams of being a superhero, working with the Avengers. When she goes to a party, an unexpected fog rolls in, and she finds herself talking to Captain Marvel, who gives her... Wait, what? That's not it.
That is, I think, just legitimately Ms. Marvel. The comic book. Kamala is a superhero fan with an imagination, particularly when it comes to Captain Marvel. Kamala feels like she doesn't fit in at school and sometimes even at home. That is, until she gets superpowers like the heroes she's looked up to. What do you think of that?
That's basically what I said in that show, but
Yeah,
moving on. Moving right along.
Was there an echo in here? What was that? Let's see. We got Aman Vellani, who plays Kamala Khan, who I thought was, like, she was really good.
Yeah.
Again, Marvel's kind of gotten pretty good at doing, casting age accurate, right? Where, like, Kamala Khan, Aman Vellani is legitimately, like, a 16, 17-year-old kid. And, she's 20. I'm a liar.
She's 20?
Yeah.
Oh.
She was born in... Well, she'll be 20. She's 19. She was born September 3rd, 2002.
Hmm.
But even still, I mean, it's better than, like, you know, the old days when you got Tobey Maguire playing a high schooler who looks 30, you know? Which was fine at the time, but as you move along, you're like, man, why do all high schoolers in movies just look like adults? It's because they are.
Because they were.
They were 28-year-old people playing 16-year-olds.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do about it? You got Matt Lintz playing Bruno Corelli. Zenobia Shroff was her mother, who apparently her character's name is Muniba. I didn't know that. I was just her mom, you know?
Yeah.
And then Nakia, her friend, is played by Yasmin Fletcher.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Kamran, who's played by Rish Shah. And her father is Mohan Kapoor, plays
Dude.
Yosef Khan. Her dad fucking kills me.
Killed me. The entire thing.
And then I almost forgot her brother. Her brother is Sagar Shaikh. And yeah, her brother's name is Amir Khan.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you want, I figure we'll just do it kind of roughly chronological, but we're not going to get hung up on episodes. You know, we're just going to go, oh yeah, I liked that from that episode, or I didn't like that from that episode. And then at the end, we can just kind of talk about the series as a whole, things that stood out to us as missed opportunities, things that we liked they included, things like that.
Yeah, I'd be down.
So episode 1 is called Generation Y, and that's just your rough introduction to her of, hey, here's this girl. And I like the opening to that, of it being
very interesting.
She's a YouTuber.
Shots. Yeah.
That she's a YouTuber and she goes by Sloth Baby, and which I don't know enough about the comic book character. I wonder if that's a legitimate like character trait of hers, kind of like Peter Parker being a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, her character has always been that she's a fangirl of the Avengers, and I do think it's interesting that we're seeing that kind of in the MCU now, where like Kate Bishop in Hawkeye is a a fan of the Avengers.
Right.
Like the world has existed long enough that there are heroes in it that remember when the heroes started showing up and can be inspired by them. But so the whole setup is that her and her friend Bruno are trying to make her, because she is particularly obsessed with Captain Marvel. Right?
Yes.
And I did like that, how her retelling of what she called the Battle of Earth from Endgame was different and was very much, Captain Marvel is the best Avenger and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like relatively true up until the point of her just basically laying Thanos out, and that's that.
Yeah.
Reality. When it's
Iron Man
when
is
in reality,
the best Avenger.
Well, he's the deadest Avenger. She tried that. And then...
Whoa. Too soon, man.
Yeah, it'll always be too soon for you.
Yeah.
Just start calling you Bob. You're always bobbing up and down on that dick.
Jesus. All right, guys. Thanks for listening to the episode.
That is crass. Yeah. I hope Spotify allows that kind of talk. Oh, they definitely do.
Welcome back to Gas or Pass. Pass.
No, so you weren't a fan of that? You weren't a fan of Bob?
No, it's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny. You liked it. I can't take credit for that. I think I used it last week, and it's from a TikToker that I've seen. I gotta find that guy's name, because he's the guy that does the warehouse worker.
Oh yes, I know that guy. Yeah. How do you expect me to go so fast with a broken handleys? What's a handleys? Handleys, not Steve. And walk away.
Nuts. Yeah, handleys, not Steve. Oh my god. Yeah. In fact, oh, here he is. My god, what are the odds of that? Felonious Falafel. Not a sponsor, but
no, yeah, my god.
Check him out. He does good stuff. If you're a TikToker, check out Felonious Falafel, because he makes funny shit. He did one the other day. Like I gotta gas him up. He did one the other day that had my wife and I rolling, and it was if the Second Wizarding War took place in the South, and he just screams at the top of his lungs in his best Southern accent, "Avada Kedavra!"
Yes. Look here, fellas. The boy who lived came to die. Avada Kedavra!
Oh. But anyways, yeah, I stole that Bob from one of his videos. I didn't steal it. I borrowed it.
You're bobbing.
I liked it. I'm bobbing on him. Yeah, call me Bob now. Everybody's bobbing on dicks. Let's move on. Kamala wants to be Captain Marvel at the first ever AvengerCon. She's going to cosplay as her, and Bruno Corelli are souping up a suit for her. Which, honestly, as far as cosplay goes, not a bad suit.
Right.
Like, it looks like a legitimate cosplay that you'd be like, yeah, that's a pretty good cosplay.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse you.
Ooh.
Yeah, there was chunks. I don't want to talk about it. So
moving on.
Yeah, we'll just keep moving. We're going to pile through. Yeah, so her fucking, the whole premise is that they wanted you to bring a little bit of yourself to the cosplay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so her grandmother, who they're all she's of Pakistani descent.
Yep.
Her parents are first generation immigrants, and she her grandmother sent a box of junk, as her mom puts it, and she finds a bangle in it that she's like, I'll wear that. That'll be a little bit of me, right? Well, at the AvengerCon that she sneaks out for, she slaps on the bangle and shit goes wild for her, right? She all of a sudden
hands start growing.
Yeah, she can all of a sudden she does that weird little fall backwards into the ground and then flips. What are you doing, guy?
Damn it, I'm trying to be quiet. I'm getting comfy.
I'll tell you, it is the exact opposite. I'm trying to be quiet, and it's just...
Moving on.
Did you hear that?
What do you want from me? No, I didn't, but I heard you moan.
Yeah, it's because it snapped back off the seat and hit me on the butthole. It was like getting whipped with a towel.
It smacked your back.
Snappy. Yeah, the snack that smiles back,
You just...
oh, Jesus. It's going off the rails, guy.
We're going off the rails.
Stop it. I will mute you. Just in Discord, mute you. After getting there and dressing up, yeah, she puts on the bangle, shit pops off, and she's freaking out, and Bruno's like, you gotta get up there, And so she goes up there and starts just throwing, projections out over the crowd, and everybody's freaking out. She's freaking out. And then I remember that my wife and I all had the same reaction. There's a part where Zoe, the cool girl at school, just gets fucking clapped by a goddamn Thor hammer by Mjolnir. A big, what do you call that? Not Fabergé.
Paper mache.
Paper mache. Yeah, I'm assuming it's paper mache. But it swings like a pendulum and just catches her in the chest. And we all thought she was dead. We're like, oh my god!
So yeah, she's done. She's done.
Like, good god! But luckily it's not, because it was light. She's able to just like grab onto it, like her hands went through it, and she's just swinging on it. But then it does legitimately almost fall on her. And Kamala, that's when you first see her use truly use the power as an extension of herself, and she reaches out and catches saves her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so she's freaking out, and Bruno takes her home. Which, again, I don't want to try and dwell on one episode at a time, but I did really like something from this that didn't really come up again in the rest of the episodes that I hoped it would, was the kind of like environmental stuff of like her incorporating her doodling and stuff.
Yeah.
Where like as they're walking home, they're talking about what her piece of herself could be, and you're seeing like all the different characters that she's talking, and and they're like coming up as graffiti. And then as they were texting each other, the texts were coming through the environment, which was kind of cool. And it was just nice and visually different and interesting. And I wonder if it has something to do with who directed that episode. Because I'm looking on Wikipedia here, full disclosure. And Adil and Bilal directed this episode and the finale episode. And I noticed that in the finale, the same thing happens, sort of, with like her doodling out her plan.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering if that's something that they liked,
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I thought it was kind of a nice way to incorporate the fact that she's a doodler and she is a planner, but in like a big picture kind of way, Right. She dreams big, because her plan involved like jumping their bikes over a bridge onto the top of a bus.
Yeah.
And then I like that you even pointed out when they go to actually execute the plan, she looks at Bruno like, are we jumping? And he's like, no, no. He shakes his head, no, we're not doing that. We're going to take the steps. But yeah, so episode 2 is obviously her trying to figure out what's going on with her powers and trying to train herself. Bruno, who's very sciencey, he actually got accepted into Caltech. He's doing a little bit of research, and he figures out that the bangle activated her own superpowers. It's not just the bangle giving her powers. Her friend Nakia, they attend that party with that was organized by Zoe.
Yes.
And that new senior Kamran, that she's like... Mm-hmm. We made the comment that like Kamala Khan is just, she wants to date everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, you ain't gotta say it. She wants to date everybody because she is portraying a 16-year-old. But yeah, everybody.
16. I was like,
everybody that you met,
everything and anything.
Yeah, everybody that you met, you're like, is there chemistry here? Is this a thing? Like,
is this a thing?
Because and I think there was a little bit of that, and I don't know if it was good, bad, intentional, accidental. But like every male character that was about her age that she came into contact with, my wife and I both were like, are they flirting? Are they going to be a thing?
16, you're very flirtatious.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of figuring that out.
Right.
But yeah, so that's when Kamran, they flee the scene, right? Mm. Or no, that's the end of 3, isn't it? Yeah. The end of 2 is when they're all in the car together. And
yes.
Yeah, I was right. I'm reading through here. Sorry, episode 2 and 3 kind of blend together in my head. So they go to the party. The cops roll up, and everybody's like, "Scatter!" And they jump into Kamran's car and they drive off. Well, eventually she ends up. Kamala's trying to save the little boy when they go to the party at the mosque.
Yes.
She saves the little boy from falling, and then has to run away from the Department of Damage Control, which apparently they have now condensed down into DODC. So the DODC agents are chasing her down, and that's when she almost gets caught, but Kamran rolls up in his car again to save her, and they she jumps in, and he's like, I want to introduce you to somebody, and it's just straight up his mom, Najma,
Mama,
in the back seat, who Kamala had seen in some of her visions. And so it's like, oh no, what does
this mean?
Why have I seen you before? And then episode 3, that's when she finds out that she's actually she's a descendant of the Jinn, which I had to look it up to be sure. But the Jinn are in like, I don't want to be incorrect in like attributing the culture, right? But I believe it's in Muslim culture, or maybe just general like ancient Arabic culture. Basically, the Jinn is like, that's what we call genies. Mm-hmm. And they've been exiled from the newer dimension. And so this is a very big departure from Kamala's origins in the comics. Mm-hmm. Where in the comics, she's an Inhuman, which I kind of brought up earlier. I think it's weird that they changed her origin to not be an Inhuman. if they are then going to turn around and bring the Inhumans in.
Right.
You know what I mean? It seems odd that they wouldn't just. But and I saw someone who was Muslim on Twitter who had a point that I could see being the case. That they were like, maybe some of the people writing or the higher ups thought that her origin needed to be quote unquote more Muslim.
Wait, what?
So a Muslim person tweeted that they thought maybe the reason why she's a jinn now is because people at Disney or Marvel thought, from a marketing standpoint or whatever, that, well, if she's going to be a Muslim hero, her origin should probably be more Muslim.
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm fine with that.
And so it's like, all right,
I didn't think it was a bad story arc behind it.
No. But it is a total rewrite of who that character is.
Sure.
And so, yeah, the thought is that maybe it was a little bit of, let's just make her sound more ethnic, but I'm not sure. I thought it flowed well, and it gave you a good, good background of why she's at odds with these clandestines, as they call themselves, which are the 5 people that she meets, who are, also of Jinn descent, right? And they've been trapped here. And she also reveals that the bangle that she's wearing was straight up, like, it might be the key to help them get back home, but they need the other bangle.
Mm-hmm.
And so Kamala's like, yeah, I'll help you guys out. And Bruno straight up is like, I think that could be dangerous. Like, I don't know why you're agreeing to do this. And she's like, it'll be all right. If we can find a safe way to do it, it'll be all right. They go to she tells Kamran that, like, hey, I need some time because Bruno thinks it could be dangerous and I want to make sure we can do it safely. And Kamran's like, all right. Tells his mom that, and mom's straight up like, nah, fuck that noise. And they go and they crash fucking Amir's wedding.
Yeah.
Which had the fucking, that was a good joke. Because at times it does feel like a kid's show, which, like we talked about, I think, in our private lives. I don't know if we talked about it on here. The idea that this show's definitely angled more towards like a tween, early teen crowd, I would say.
Yeah.
But there's a solid joke of the cover band that's playing the brothers' wedding is, they're all presumably Pakistani or, in some way, but they go by the name Brown Jovi.
Brown Jovi.
And they're a Bon Jovi cover band. And for some reason, Bon Jovi comes up like a few
perfect
times.
time. And like all of them are kick ass.
Yeah, but yeah, they keep talking about Bon Jovi like throughout the series, and I don't know why. I don't know if there's like a weird cultural thing that, like, do Pakistani Americans like Bon Jovi, or is that just something they decided about her family?
I don't know. Either way, I'm not complaining.
No, it was funny, and especially who were all the bands? You knew who they were earlier. Or no, they not the bands. They do. They were talking about they do bat mitzvahs, quinceañeras.
Yeah, birthday parties.
They're basically listing off traditionally, brown of parties, right? And so they're Brown Jovi. But yeah, so the clandestines just straight up roll up on the wedding reception, and Kamala has to pull the fucking what do you call that, fire alarm?
Yeah,
and ruin her fucking brother's wedding. And then fight the clandestines and try and save Bruno and Kamran. And doesn't go smoothly, but by God, they get out of there. And the Department of Damage Control captures the clandestines, including Kamran. And Nakia fucking is mad because she finds out that Kamala is, in fact, what do they call it at that time? The Nightlight?
Nightlight.
Yeah, and she fucking hates that they're calling her Nightlight, but she doesn't know what she wants to be called anyways. Episode 4 is pretty cool because she and her mother end up going to Pakistan.
That was a really good episode.
She's talking to her grandmother like off and on. She's trying to reach out to her through through FaceTime, and her grandmother's not good at FaceTiming, which is kind of funny. And she's like, what does she call her? Nani? Yeah. Nani, back the phone up. Like, she's just looking up her nose. Eyeball. Yeah. And I forgot to mention, when she fights the clandestines there before the DODC show up, she straight up has a vision of a train. Yeah. Like crashing at her. And that's what triggers the trip to Pakistan, as the grandmother calls her on FaceTime and is like, did you see the train too? And she's like, what the fuck? And so she's like, you and your mom gotta come to Karachi. And so they do. And so Kamala and her mom go to Karachi to reunite with her grandmother. And she kind of pulls Kamala aside while they're there and is like, that bangle's trying to tell you something through the train. Not positive what, but you gotta go figure that shit out. Right. Yeah. So she's like, all right, word. And she goes does all that. Yeah, pops off, goes to the train station, all that. She meets the Red Daggers, which are kind of like a vigilante group who are cool. Trying to take down the clandestines. And they originally, like, thinks she's one of the clandestines, which she kind of is. She's like clandestine adjacent, right? But yeah, so she meets Kareem, who he's the Red Dagger, like her age guy, right?
Right.
Another one of the characters that my wife and I were like, she got the hots for this guy,
Right. Yeah. And it did. I felt in that one. Oh shit! I can't remember his name. What was it?
Kareem or what? The Red Dagger?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kareem.
Kareem. I felt Kareem was very flirtatious towards her.
Yeah.
But she was dishing it back, so I don't know.
I don't know, man. But yeah.
Live your life, man. That's all I gotta say. Live your life.
Yeah, what you got to do. Yeah, so Kamala finds out that Waleed, their leader of the Red Daggers, she finds out from him that the clandestines are trying to break the veil of Nur and just bring Nur into the human world and destroy everything. And so that's not very cash money. The clandestines fuck up the DODC and just break out of the Supermax prison. And Najma just straight up abandons Kamran. Like, she's like, get fucked, loser. And ditches him for what she perceives as a betrayal of him just defending Kamala.
There it is.
Oh, God. I'm going to have to take a puke break. No. Kamala begins training with the Red Daggers to kind of master her powers, and they get quickly interrupted by the clandestines. A chase keeps going on for him. And like you mentioned, Waleed straight up kills one of the clandestines, and then Najma just kills him. And like kind of just shoves him over the edge of the railing. It's very non-ceremonial. Like, he's dead, shoves him over, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, and that was... Yeah, we talked about that episode. I was mind blown. I was not expecting that.
Yeah. And so they have a pretty cool fight in like a little courtyard, I suppose, of like maybe some apartments or housing with like the clothing lines and stuff. And I thought that was kind of neat. And she is helping Kareem fight off the clandestines when Najma like jumps at her and she catches the blade with the bangle. And for some reason, it sends Kamala back in time to the partition, which is, for people that don't know, the partition in Pakistan/India was when Pakistan and India were separated off into their own two things. And a lot of people died in just the chaos of trying to move millions of people across the borders in both directions. And there was not enough supplies and supply chain and all that, and it was a mess. It was a scary time. And you get the vibe that her grandmother really didn't want to talk about partition, which makes sense if it was a kind of a hard thing. But also, the only thing that they bring up is that her mother got separated from her father. Or sorry, Kamala's mother talks about partition, and that when they were fleeing the country, her mother got separated from her grandfather, and the quote the story is always told that a line of stars led her back to him, and somehow she found him in the chaos, and they got on the train and they left, but her mom didn't make it, right?
Right.
Well, snap back to reality, right? Kamala gets sent back to partition. It's India in 1942, and you get to see Aisha, who would be, I guess, Kamala's great-grandmother. Mm-hmm. And you find out, like we said, she was a clandestine, and you get to see her falling in love and kind of get a little bit more background on what's going on there, and the idea that fucking Najma has always kind of been a shitbird and a dick about trying to get back to Nur, because she finds Aisha, and it's basically like after Aisha's had a kid with oh god, I completely lost his name. Hassan is the great grandfather. Yeah. But yeah, Aisha's had a kid, obviously Nani, with Hassan, and Najma doesn't give a shit. She's like, yeah, you got that bangle, or what are we doing here?
Yeah, and, what's the story?
She's like, yeah, it'll take me a little while to get it, and Najma's like, all right, well, I'll be back tomorrow, so have it for me. That's when Aisha's like, all right, we got to bounce. And that was kind of a tough moment, because like Hassan's dad apparently built the house that they're living in, and he doesn't want to leave it. And it did kind of get to show you the human side of things in like a superhero story, where this is just a real.
It's real. Yeah, it felt very
a real human story of this is what it was like in partition, and obviously this is, I'm sure, a little bit sanitized because it's Disney Plus.
Sure.
But the idea that they're just burning houses down in the countryside, and there's a bunch of civil unrest, and it's not cool, and they're just trying to get out, right? Mm-hmm. And that was actually very stressful, the scene of them at the train station.
Yeah. Because
there was just so many people. And it really did convey like how chaotic and scary that would have been, and how easy it would be to get separated. Mm-hmm. And, thinking about it being 1942, like, they at one point they do get separated, and it's like, you don't have a cell phone to call and go, where are you at? Right.
Right.
That might be the last time you ever see somebody, which, for Aisha and Hassan, it does end up being the case, because, Aisha basically tells him, take, I can't think of what the daughter's name actually is, Sana. I was like, I just keep wanting to call her Nani. But, the grandma, as the little girl, she gives her to the husband and says, take her to the train, I'll be right back. And basically turns around and goes back to fight Najma and gets ganked. She gets stabbed right in the gut.
Yeah.
And left to just bleed out. And little girl Sana goes back to find mom. And Kamala is actually there right now. That's the point in time that she gets sent back to. And it's like a weird, I guess, like a closed loop, almost like a paradox, I guess.
That's what I was thinking.
Because she gets sent back in time to the point where she gets to see her great-grandmother Aisha dying. Aisha gives her the bangle and is like, make sure that you get this and the... or no, the bangle's already on Sana, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So she just gives Kamala the photo of Hassan and is like, make sure that Sana gets this. And that's when Kamala realizes that, like, she's the one that reunited them. Because the crowd's all kind of crazy and the little girl can't get through to Dad. And so she makes a trail of stars to lead her to him, right? And she's like, holy shit, like, it was me. Like, yeah.
It was me.
And so, yeah, there is that weird, like like you agreed, a paradox there of, wait, how did she go back in time to tell that story? And she was the story, But, so once that happens, she gets sent back to the present. She finds Najma's strike has actually, like, opened the Veil of Nur, and shit's not gonna be very cash money for much longer.
No.
Because one of the fucking clandestine gets close to it and just gets absolutely vaporized like dust. They're gone. And Kamala's like, we gotta fucking
scoot.
Like, this isn't good. And Kamala's trying to, like, appeal to Najma, like, we gotta close that thing, because, like, think about Kamran, think about everybody, like, this is gonna kill people. Mm-hmm. And so Najma transfers her power to Kamran as she, like, sacrifices herself to close the veil. And Kamala gets caught by her fucking mom and grandma, and mom's just straight up like, all right, cool, I guess she got powers. Which was kind of surprising, Yeah. Because mom's very uptight. At least that's how she's portrayed.
Yeah, it was very it was nonchalant, but I mean, it worked out.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I had to whet my whistle.
Yes, I don't like that.
What? Whetting my whistle?
Moving right along.
After being attacked by the DODC drone? I said drone. Drone. So yeah, Kamran's freaking out, right? Because he's got the powers. And he's like, I gotta go somewhere. And he finally goes to Bruno. And Bruno's like, why the fuck are you here? And straight up, the DODC drone shows up. Kamran destroys it with the power that he just now has and is, like, kind of freaking out about. And then the explosion from the drone. I said it again. From the drone. I'm having a stroke. Oh, that'd be kind of cool to get it out on air. Like that news anchor, know?
No, that is not.
No, but the explosion, obliterates the fucking circle Q that Bruno lives above and works at. And so luckily they're able to get out of there somehow in time for the explosion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole finale rolls up, and you're more fresh on the finale than I am. You want to tell me about the finale?
Yeah, so the finale, it basically kicks off with Kamala getting a call saying, like, Bruno, like, we don't know where he's at, and the circle Q's blown up.
She's like, oh.
Yeah, so they all scoot, and they're, finding her, and then they create this devious, they find out the DODC is after him on the hunt, and they go to the high school, because that's where, like, they thought no one's going to be there on a Saturday.
Right.
And then they find Zoe there.
Yeah.
And she's like, her excuse for being there is it has great lighting in the theater.
Yeah.
She's doing TikToks. And so from there, that's where we get to see, like, that cartoony planning.
Yeah.
And then...
and she gets her costume.
Yeah.
That her mom maybe bought for her in Pakistan.
Mm-hmm. And then from there, they execute the plan, but you get to see, like, that drawing on the chalkboard. Yeah. And it actually works. Like, it goes...
Yeah, it goes pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, they all get captured, but except for... I keep wanting to
call
Cameron. Kamran and Kamala. And but then Kamran starts to go AWOL,
Yeah, he's
And
freaking out because he doesn't know that mom's dead.
Right, and he's freaking the fuck out once the news is broke to him. And Kamala is she kind of like fights him for a little bit, and then ultimately saves him
Yeah, it's
because
more like she's trying to subdue him.
right, yeah, because
It's like
he
fighting a
starts
drunk
losing his
friend,
shit. Yeah, yeah.
Get your
And he
shit
starts-
together, guy.
And
You're making
she
a scene.
basically says, "Go to the daggers, right? Go to the red daggers, and
Yeah.
they'll help you out." And he was like, "Are you fucking sure?"
Are you sure? Because they want to kill me.
And then like she punches a hole in the ground, and then she goes, "Yeah, get the fuck out of here."
Deuce out, baby. And we get to see
And
her
then-
kind of have like somewhat her stretchy powers.
Yeah, like in a better
Yeah, like the shape,
look
I
at
suppose.
it. Yeah, and then from there, the DODC get the lady, the head honcho of whatever that
Like
unit was,
that little attachment. Yeah.
basically gets fired, and her supervisor is like, "You straight up like disobeyed orders and try to fight a kid. Like you're done."
Like this is a PR nightmare, especially because what Zoe basically got on TikTok and told all of her fucking followers, like, you got to come to this high school and help us.
Yeah, which
so
works.
Because there's just a bunch of people. Oh, you figure we talked about it. It's kind of like a Spider-Man moment almost.
Yeah.
Where like the community surrounds her to protect her, which was nice. It kind of gives you that local hero feel. Are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
You just got yeah. You just got cricket quiet for a moment, and I was like, "Are you with me?"
Oh no, I said yeah.
I gotcha.
And then after that, oh god, I'm not as good as this part as you are. And after that,
You weren't expecting me to pitch it to you, were you?
No, I really wasn't.
Gosh, on your heels.
Got me with my pants down.
Resting on your haunches.
And then from there, they kind of just get away.
So basically, the fucking...
And then it does like a week later.
Yeah, she goes home and is like, "Boof, man, that was right on." And you get to see the little, like, the reaction from the community on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where everybody's like, "That was fucking bananas," you know? And her sheik, her mosque temple leader, is like...
Yes, he's a hot dog.
He has the hot dog filter, and he's like, "I guess I'm a hot dog now." Like, I don't really know what's going on. Oh, yeah, and that's a nice little moment when she's at home, and she's sitting on her roof, and her dad comes out to sit with her.
Yeah, and that's where she gets her name.
Yeah, because he's like, "You're a superhero named..." She's like, "I don't even fucking know, guy. Like, get off me, you know?"
And he goes on to say how
her name
means marvel.
Yeah, basically, in what do you say? Like, in Arabic, it meant perfect, but in Urdu, Kamal means
marvel.
Yeah, Marvel. And
he's like, "And you've always been just our little Miss Marvel."
I like that. She's like, "Are you telling me I share a name? I've shared a name with Carol frickin' Danvers?" And he's just like, "I don't know who that is, but maybe, yeah, and you've always been our little Miss Marvel." And you're like, oh,
yeah, she gets her name, Miss Marvel.
Obviously that's what she's gonna go by, because she's gonna go by Marvel. Fucking, are you kidding me?
Right,
Carol Danvers. Yeah, Kamran, he flees to Pakistan. He meets up with Kareem. Bruno, fucking, here's like the stinger at the end of the series that you're like, oh, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
So Bruno rolls up in fucking Kamran's car and is like, "Yeah, he left this for me." Like, they're like, I mean, he fled the country. I don't know that he left it for you. Yeah. And he's talking to Kamala about the fact that, they were a little bit wrong maybe about her powers.
Yeah, and it was a mutation.
Yeah, he's like, your brother was asking me, Amir was asking me if he had powers too. And so I did genetic testing on everybody, and there's something in your genes, man. And he says, like a mutation. And you hear a little bit of the...
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I, who are kids of the 90s, were both like... which, like he says, it's a genetic mutation that the rest of the family lacks. And so then we get the mid-credits scene where, like, her bangle starts to freak out. And then she, like... gets sucked into her closet real quick, crashes through the closet door.
That's Captain Marvel.
Carol Danvers stands up and is like, obviously a little weirded out by the fact that she's in a bedroom full of Carol Danvers, like, memorabilia.
She's like, oh, no way.
Oh, no. Yeah. And, so obviously the implication there is that her and Carol Danvers switched places. So wherever Captain Marvel was at that point in time, I would assume Ms. Marvel got sent to. And like you said, hope it ain't nowhere bad, Right,
yeah, I hope it's not like in the middle of a fight or nothing.
Yeah, because they've got very different power sets as far as like skill ability right now. And so I saw somebody ask, because her original, in the comics, Kamala originally like she's a shapeshifter.
Right.
As opposed to having like the weird crystal powers, which is why she's stretchy, is she can change the shape of her body and all that. Well, she originally fights crime as Carol Danvers, like she changes herself to look like Carol Danvers and which they kind of do in this, where she dresses up as, again, her cosplay costume, right?
Yeah, with the little mask with the blonde
Yeah,
hair
with
poking through the top like the mohawk.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be that whole thing of like she says, I think to Bruno, that it's not the brown girls from Jersey City that save the world. So when she becomes a bit more comfortable with being herself and being a a Muslim 16-year-old Pakistani girl who's also a superhero, she kind of decides to just be that, right? But so I saw somebody asking if that was legitimately Carol Danvers or if she just discovered she could shapeshift, and I'm pretty sure it was just Carol Danvers because like the costume changed and she wasn't wearing the bangle, and she did seem more not surprised that she was Carol Danvers, but surprised that she was just randomly in a bedroom that had a bunch of Captain Marvel memorabilia.
Yeah, and she's awkwardly looking around like,
well, no. Yeah, so, and then we get the stinger at the end of it all that says, Ms. Marvel will return in The Marvels, which
the
is
Marvels.
the sequel to Captain Marvel. And it's going to be about Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, and, Photon, which is, I always mix them up, Monica Rambeau?
Yes.
Because Maria's the mom, right?
Yes.
Yeah, dude, we're in it. Yeah. So, and I wonder what the larger implication is of like mutations. Where they're making Kamala a mutant now as opposed to an Inhuman, which is weird. Again, like I said, if they are legitimately going to bring in the Inhumans, but then also does that mean that Captain Marvel herself is a mutant and Photon is a mutant? Because their powers are the similar, they have the X gene and then it gets activated by stress. You figure Captain Marvel gets her powers when she gets blasted by the cube, not the cube, but what do they call that thing? Tesseract.
Yes. Wait. How do you not remember the Tesseract? You confused me. Oh my god, my mic fell. You confused me.
Jesus.
When you were like the brick or the cube, and I was like, fucking cube. My first thought was from Umbrella Academy, which you haven't seen, so you
I was
don't
going to say,
know.
I've seen Umbrella Academy.
Sorry, I thought you were cultured.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
What's your favorite part of Lord of the Rings?
When
And
the
not
whole
the scenes
thing.
that I fucking showed you.
No, absolutely not. My fucking favorite part is Bilbo and Gandalf just passing
Hitting
the
the
pipe,
peace pipe.
fucking going in on it.
Just going hard. But no, so yeah, like are they all mutants? Because then like we said, Photon, Monica Rambeau, she gets sent through the hex
Which would, it makes sense, and I feel like it'd be a
in
nice little
WandaVision.
segue in.
Yeah, and start to kind of ease us into the idea that maybe there have always been people with the X gene, which I mean would make sense, but then it makes you wonder why there haven't been the X-Men yet. I don't, we'll just have to see how they tie it all in.
And it is nice because we get to kind of see, like, okay, yes, we actually do know mutants in already. It's not like,
They just
oh
show
my
up out of
god,
nowhere.
right? It's like, okay, we know a couple already.
Yeah.
That are mutants, but they just don't know it yet.
Yeah, but I just thought I'd close up here with my, I just wrote down my thoughts vaguely and quickly. I just said, really enjoyed this series. It has that coming of age feel that I think it was trying for, and it wasn't off-putting. It did come off as a little like tween sitcom at times, like a Hannah Montana or a little bit more adult than that. But again, not as a criticism so much as I don't know if it was always entirely for my, a 26-year-old man, right? But I still enjoyed it. And I did like that, and we kind of talked about it. I like that her religion was actually a part of her character. And as far as like I really believed her inner conflict when it comes to like her cultures colliding of she loves superheroes and she wants to be a superhero, but then mom just wants her to settle down and marry a nice Muslim boy,
And it's not who she wants to be.
Yeah, and like we
Or what
talked
she
about
wants to do.
downstairs. Yeah, it's not necessarily what she wants to do. It was as much a piece of her character as like Peter Parker being a broke, high schooler or college student.
That's just part of the character.
Yeah, so I thought that was nice that it was so integrated and it wasn't just she's Muslim to say she's Muslim. It was
right, like
who she
there's
is.
actual
But yeah, what were your final your wrap up thoughts on that guy?
That I think it was the 4th episode. I think
The
it was
flashback to partition.
Maybe the 3rd then.
The wedding?
No, the one where they go to Pakistan.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm sorry, I misread it. Yeah, 5 is the flashback to partition. 4 is the Pakistan episode. That was a good episode.
Yeah, it was really action packed, and it was really good action packed for like everything that was going on and what the show is, and it felt like
it's pretty grounded.
Yeah, so I mean that one was definitely my favorite episode out of it, but I mean I'm ready to rate it if you are.
Oh yeah, baby. How's our rating work?
So yeah, you can either be overwhelmed, if you're overwhelmed with something, you can be underwhelmed, which is let down, or you can just be simply whelmed, which is somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Brother Colin.
Thank you, brother Chris. I'm torn. I think I was. I'm gonna say simply whelmed. Only because it was. I didn't think it was going to be bad, but I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. But as far as the Marvel shows go, I think it's pretty middle of the pack.
Sure.
So it wasn't, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not because I wasn't sure how young of an audience they were shooting for. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it overwhelmed me in that way. But then it was underwhelming as far as Marvel shows go, where I was like, okay, it was good, but it wasn't the best. It wasn't, it was pretty middle for me.
Wasn't gas.
So it wasn't gas or nothing. So I think I got to land on.
I'd say I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Especially because how late I was to watching it.
Yeah.
And thankfully nothing got spoiled for me, which was cool.
Yeah.
And
luckily, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a very spoilable show as far as like impact on the world at large.
Right. And
other than the mutant thing.
When I did watch it, the cool camera shots, and it did feel like a cheesy coming to age show. But I that's fine with me. I thought it was fitting. It fit kind of a Marvel-esque tone, if that makes sense. So, I really liked it.
But yeah, no, I agree.
You gonna ask what I'm thinking about?
Yeah, I will when we get to it. What I've been thinking about this week, just to really throw off the flow, I just skip you. Now, what you been thinking about this week, Chris?
Well, I'm glad you asked, and I just wanted to say, welcome back to Chris's Cryptid Corner. I'm your host, Chris.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
Just to tell you that I got to figure out another way to edit in your theme. Because I don't know if you've been listening to this. I don't know if you listen to our show or not.
I do.
I edit in the Cryptid Corner music.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pain in the dick. So I gotta figure out, because like there's no easy way to loop it, because it can't be a predetermined length, because your segment might be a different length every time.
Sure.
So whenever you get really like long-winded in a good way, where I'm like, okay, yeah, he's really in depth on this. Then I go back to edit it, and I'm like, motherfucker, I gotta make because it's only like a 12-second audio clip that I have to loop over and over.
Well, you're in luck, because I'm actually taking a step back from Chris's Cryptid Corner this week. And my reasoning behind that was a fan of the show who's also a good buddy of mine, which is always good. Like when your friends come up and like genuinely like, this is actually really good. Like I listened to this just on the reg. He sent me a podcast for and a bunch of articles for Skinwalker Ranch, and so I started to dive in on it on my lunch, and I want to go in depth more on it, and I think it's going to be a longer episode. Because he said, he was like, hey, you told me you couldn't find anything for Skinwalker Ranch, so I have a bunch of stuff, and he sent it to me, and so I'm going to do a deep dive on that, but I'm not quite done yet.
Yeah. So you don't have anything in the meantime?
Oh no, I'll tell you what I've been thinking about. I've been fucking thinking about The Boys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that show's hot, it's funny, and I think it's very real in a dark way of like if superheroes were to be
real, this is probably what it would be.
Yeah, like it's very corporate.
Yeah.
And so like that just amazes me, and I'm still on the first season, so I can't really talk about anything. But that shit's been blowing my mind lately, and I'd like to do an episode or at least a little tidbit.
I'll tell you what. Since I gave you such,
I'll tell you,
mother.
Whoa.
No, I'll catch up on The Boys for you, and then
That's right.
When we come into some downtime between weeks, which I think we should have one coming up. We can maybe do The Boys.
I also have been thinking, and I want yours and more importantly the audience's voice on it. What if Chris's Cryptid Corner, 4 corners of a room, baby.
Oh.
Chris's Cupid Corner, right? Love advice, baby. Like you're talking to the love doctor. I know how to say hello to a woman without sounding too awkward, like I'm fucking drowning in it. No,
it's not.
No, it's not. I'm just an awkward person. But I don't know. I feel like
not that. I just like the idea that you want, like you said, 4 corners. You want to just envelop this, what was our show, and turn it into the Chris Corners show.
This is the movement. This is our religion.
Well, I'll tell you what. You figure out how to edit it and post it, and I'll let you just knock yourself out.
What about you, Colin? What have you been thinking about?
I've been thinking about trying to lose weight.
Oh, word.
Yeah. So I did bad today already. Started today, failed today. Mm-hmm. That's because I'm a soda drinker. So we always try and buy like diet soda pops, and I was like, yeah. And I was like, I don't know. I had a day off, and I was checking the fridge, and I was like, oh fuck, we got ginger ale. And I'm an old man. Like ginger ale just wets my whistle. It wets my whistle. And I was like, oh man, So I chugged back a couple ginger ales and I went back for a third because I was getting stupid. And I caught the side of the can and saw that it said it wasn't a 0-calorie soda. And I was like, oh shit, I'm so used to 0-calorie sodas. And so I already blew it because I had like 260 more calories than I'd accounted for. And I wasn't happy with that. But the general act of tracking my calories and weighing myself today motivated me to, well, you know what? Now I know how to stay away from the ginger ale, the devil's brew, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'll do better. So I was thinking, if I've started and stopped several times. I struggle with the long-term commitment. I'll do well for like months at a time and then just fall off. So if anybody's got tips on like dieting or low calorie like meals, because I'm not crazy on like a specific like macronutrient heavy, like, you know, no carbs, all protein, nothing like that. Just tracking my calories to keep myself in a caloric deficit, right? So just I need to take lunches, easy to make snacks, things like that I can use for low calorie. So if people got any tips or recipes, things that they did, send them in. I want to hear about them.
Yeah.
And then that actually inspired me today as well to like, you know what? I've been thinking about this. I need to just do it. I went through a journey of self-improvement today.
Yeah.
And I've also been using the language learning app Duolingo, which is not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor at all. Don't fucking think about it. Recently, like
we make no money off that.
Yeah.
Remember that.
If they say we do, get our name out of your mouth. No, I've recently I want to brush up on my Spanish because I did it for like 3 years of my high school career and enjoyed it. And I was pretty good at it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And recently at work, you know, at my work, I come into contact with, you know, people who speak primarily Spanish as their main language and have little to no English. And so I've always been able to like make my way through with broken Spanish and then with broken English, and we find some middle ground and we're able to communicate. Right.
Right.
Well, here recently, I've had to do it like several times in a day, several days in a row, and I find myself struggling more than I feel like I should. You know, I'm like, oh man, I don't remember how to say that, or I feel like I used to know how to say it. So I was like, I got to brush up on my Spanish. Well, I'll tell you what, I've been doing it, and it's fun. Like the Duolingo app is fun. Again, not a sponsor, but if you can make learning fun, my God,
Duolingo does it.
Duolingo does it. That's an accomplishment. So, not a sponsor, just an endorsement. If you
maybe we should be sponsored.
Yeah, I mean, I'd reach out to them. I'd be like, hey, we have little to no overlap in audience. Other than that, I use your app. But that's always been my thought. It's like if we were to ever do sponsors, which we would have to like have an audience worth marketing towards, as far as size, right? I would want it to be something that I legitimately used and believed in. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like, what's the fucking the app that's always on TikTok ads? The game, was it Top War or some shit like that?
Yeah,
Like I don't. Get that shit out of here. Like,
no, I don't want to see it.
I'm not doing it. But yeah, if Duolingo, if you want us to sponsor, you know, hey,
hit us up.
Hey, people, if you want Duolingo to sponsor us, let them know.
Part of the following. Part of the following of the church.
Yeah, give the people what they want.
That's right.
Yeah, they can make donations to the Church of Simply Whelmed.
Whoa.
What?
Our brains.
Oh man, yeah, it's just throbbing with knowledge.
Knowledge.
Here we are in my garage. All right, that's all I got for you, kid.
That's all I got.
Want me to roll this thing out?
Yeah, I want me to do
it. It's just like the sign off at midnight. You know, apparently, this is off topic. Apparently, in like the 80s, they used to fucking play a commercial at like 10 o'clock at night that was like, do you know where your kids are?
What?
Yeah, like at 10 o'clock at night, they used to run a commercial that was like, hey, by the way, you should probably know where your fucking kids are. Because, like, you know, they didn't have cell phones and shit. They couldn't call them and be like, come home.
They had landmines.
So they would just, did you say they had landmines?
Landlines.
Oh, poof. I was like, whoa, what does that even mean? Just keep the kids off the lawn, you know? You just hear a poof. You're like, God damn it, the neighbors came out again. The neighbor's cat triggered a landmine again. But no, I just think, what the hell? Like, you know, at least mom used to tell me, like, when the streetlights come on, it's too dark, you gotta come in, you know?
Right.
No, like, moms just had to be told, hey, don't forget you have kids, do you know where they're at?
By the way.
Your
two kids, Timmy, Tommy, where they at?
No, who knows? But yeah, if you guys want to, you know, we want to thank you guys a lot for your attention and support. Lots and lots.
Of course.
If you enjoyed this episode, give it a great review. Tell your friends about us. Share us on social media. I know of people. I I fucking know who you are, and you know who you are too. Whoa. I know people personally who listen to this show and tell me they listen to it. I ain't seen a fucking post about it, which is wild to me. 20 weeks in a row now, I've fucking said. You know what? We weren't good at it at the beginning. We'll say 15. You know, maybe it took us 5 episodes to go. Maybe we should put a call to action. But yeah, so 15 weeks in a row here. I ain't seen a goddamn post. So the call to action is going to become a demand of action, right?
That's right.
Fucking
That's right.
Share it. I'll start saying names first and last. I don't give a shit.
We're doxing them.
Just doxing friends and family. You haven't shared this shit. No, but for real though, word of mouth can be a really big endorsement. And you know, if you want Duolingo to sponsor us, you got to share this shit. You know, they got to know that we exist and that we want. You know, we gotta pay for these movie tickets somehow. You know,
that's right. Yeah,
Chris, if people want to get in touch with us, yes, AMC Stubs, man, not a sponsor unless they want to be. I'll tell you what, if they want to sponsor me, they got to get the fucking Nicole Kidman ad out of there. I refuse to take their money until Nicole Kidman is no longer in front of the fucking movies going, cinema is amazing.
If you wanted to get a hold of us,
get in
our Instagram is Simply Whelmed Podcast, as well as our Facebook. Our Twitter handle is whelmed_simply. And then, of course, our email is simplywhelmedmailbag@gmail.com.
What are we on YouTube?
Oh, yeah.
Simply Whelmed Podcast on YouTube.
Next week, we're going to be discussing whatever news we get out of Comic-Con and giving our review of Jordan Peele's next film, Nope, which I am, like, absolutely hyped for. I'm jazzed. Like, I keep getting ads for it, and I'm like, oh, you can give me those ads. Like, I don't even care to see these ads. 9 times out of 10, I get shitty about ads, but nah, give me them.
Here, we'll keep it. I'll watch it.
I'll let it happen. Yeah, I won't even put the phone down.
Keep that shit up. That's what you're watching.
Yeah, I'm watching it. I'm watching it. It's not even an ad. It's just a TikTok to me. Let's see. Yeah, next week, Nope. Comic-Con. Might be a long episode, depending on how much we get out of Comic-Con and how much we have to say about Nope. And then the week after that, I believe we have Prey.
Ooh.
I might be wrong on that, but let me double check that. Oh, you know what? Yeah, no, I think it will be. It's either an off week. I'll have to double check. Does Prey come out the 5th?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I don't either. If it comes out the 5th, we'll have an off week, so maybe that's when we talk about The Boys, but I'll have to do some major binging if that's the case. But either way, Prey and The Boys will be probably our next 2 episodes in any order after Nope and Comic-Con.
Yes.
So, look forward to all that schnazzy stuff. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. We will see you next Wednesday. That's the end of the show. Chris, tell everybody bye.
Bye.
You gotta whisper it in their ear like that. Creeped me out.